Let's Take This Outside with Marianne Iveson, the podcast where she speaks to athletes, outdoor professionals, and scientists about why they connect with nature.
Mathieu Roy is the CEO of the Trans-Canada Trail, the longest recreational trail in the world. The TCT links 3 oceans, the Atlantic, Pacific, and Arctic, and connects 15,000 rural, urban, and Indigenous communities across every province and territory. Trans-Canada Trail is a registered charity and stewards this national trail in collaboration with local trail partners. I'm really excited to share this conversation and learn more about the Trans-Canada Trail. Please welcome Mathieu Roy. Mathieu, welcome to Let's Take This Outside. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for the invite. It's so great to be here.
Okay, I love to describe people's backgrounds, whether you can see it or not. You know, it's a very simple, clean, white background, but you also have some great Trans-Canada Trail signs. Like, did you have to ask for those, or did you take them off a tree, or where did those come from?
I received a bunch of signs with our former logo on it, and I just put a sticker on the sign and put it on my wall. So it's kind of a recycling art piece that promote Trans-Canada Trail, and when I'm on Zoom call, it's super great to have this background, so I don't need to have a full picture or a virtual background.
It's very clean. I like it. And I feel like people, even if people don't know what the Trans-Canada Trail is, I know if you've been on a trail, you've probably seen the Trans-Canada Trail sign, right?
Oh, yeah. It's amazing when you start looking for this logo and this sign, how many you see. And we're close to a lot of community across the country. I was just in the West 2 weeks ago now. And it was kind of a game with my kids to find the logo of Trans-Canada Trail and taking picture with the logo and them. So you're going to see the sign more and more, and it's 29,000 kilometers across the country. So yeah.
They will find it. I have to ask, what is your background that you end up in such a cool job as the CEO of the Trans-Canada Trail? That is like, it's such a cool niche job to have.
Yeah, kind of have a typical background. I study in civil engineering in Montreal. Start doing environmental project, road project, future residential development, and slowly migrate towards more environmental fields. So I did composting site, recycling site, managing operation. And at one point I decided that I really would want to have a positive impact in people's life. Recycling is super good. Composting, it's a great thing, but it's very tough to sell to people compared to creating a trail that lasts forever for future generation. And basically, I saw the postings. They were looking for a national director of trail at the time to manage the infrastructure and bring this engineering background. So I applied, got the job, and since 2017, I'm with TCT, and most recently becoming the new CEO of the organization.
Can't go much higher than that. I have to say, though, I think I saw a picture of you in mountain bike gear. What is your kind of background in the outdoors and trails? And
yeah, so I always have been, like, I love the outside. It's my playground. I do mountain bike, hike. During winter, I ski, alpine skiing, cross-country, backcountry skiing. Those are my sport, my go-to moment in nature. And I start as a teenager. I was part of the club, the hiking club, when I was studying in high school. And after that, just continued to go outside and join camping. And basically, this is my way to disconnect. So I really enjoy mountain biking. That's my best sport in the world.
What are some of your favorite mountain biking trails in Canada?
Oh, in Canada? That's a tough question.
That's a very broad question.
I will start with the trail that I have close to my own. This is where I ride the most. So Bromont.
Yeah.
Yeah, people knows that network. They have a great mix of enduro trail and downhill trail, but cross country. It's for all level, all people can go there. Sherbrooke and Montbellevue, Mont-Sautane. So everywhere in the Eastern Township in Quebec, this is where I rode the most. but there's so amazing network like the West Coast with
Oh, yeah.
the North Shore and Whistler and etc. So
I've lived in Ottawa for about 10 years, and Ottawa itself is like really such a beautiful community and such a great place, and really, a ton of trail networks. But I go to Gatineau Park, like I cross into Quebec very often, like multiple times a week. Spent a lot of time, in Tremblant, and then also I've been to the Eastern Townships once and was in Sutton, beautiful area. And it's on my like bucket list to do a weekend trip, maybe in the fall when it's like really beautiful, right?
it's going to be gorgeous. That's the best time to visit.
I feel like you kind of already answered this question, but why is, this job, the CEO of the Trans-Canada Trail, so important to you?
As I said, making a difference in people's life and having a positive impact in the future is something that there's not a lot of job that provide this great feeling of, I'm resolving problem and I'm managing issue, but the outcome is a better world for my kids, for their friends, for myself, and for my neighbor. So the outcome is so great. And it's working with people too. I really love Trans-Canada Trail. We're a network of trails. So 600 small regional trail section all gathering together to create that huge network. So I need to talk with municipality, the Minister of Tourism, Minister of Transportation, work with different departments in all provinces and territories, but also work with volunteers that are like the grassroots people that are taking care of this asset.
Well, I was in near Corner Brook, Newfoundland, and I was lucky enough to see a new section that was being built just outside of Corner Brook of the Trans-Canada Trail. I was actually like the first volunteer on the trail. So to see these people and to meet these people who are actually building the trail, it's very important to me. So I can only imagine how it feels for you.
Oh yeah, they are the most important people. We do not exist without them.
Literally, yeah.
When we meet with them, it's always, for me, it's a good reminder that I'm there to support their work and amplify the work that they do and try to make it better, bigger, while respecting what the community wants, what are they able to sustain that type of trail, etc. So I see ourselves as a supporting service organization that bring research knowledge and expertise and also funding to those organizations that desperately need money to make those projects happen.
Okay, this seems like a very basic question, but I think that a lot of Canadians don't know it's literally in their own backyard. What is the Trans-Canada Trail?
Very basic question, but very important one.
Right.
So Trans-Canada Trail started 1992. It's a dream. Belprat, Pierre Camus. They wanted to connect the country with a trail. So first thing that people need to know is that the Trans-Canada Trail goes from Cape Spear, Newfoundland to Victoria in the British Columbia, Windsor, Ontario, the southest point of Canada, to Tuktoyaktuk in the Northwest Territories. So we connect the three oceans together. It's a very long network, but it's a multi-use trail network. So you can start, you just experience Newfoundland. The East Coast Trail, it's an amazing hiking trail along the coastline. You're gonna, after that, jump in St. John on a multi-use trail. So it's a former rail line trail. We often call it a rail to trails. And after that, you're gonna hit Brador Lake to go in Nova Scotia. So it's gonna be a waterway and it's almost an open ocean.
I actually didn't know this until I talked to Deanne Whelan. I didn't know that the Trans-Canada Trail was also waterways too.
And it's important. The waterway seems to be, for a lot of people, like just a way to connect. But it is a mean of transportation since forever in Canada. The important piece of a waterway, yes, we need the water, but the landing site, the portage trail, and the way you enter and exit the water is so important to be safe and making sure that the experience is doable. So there's a lot of thinking in the waterway, and we have tons of urban trail. Like we're all across the country and all the capitals of provinces and territories, major city, Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver. The Trans-Canada Trail is everywhere, close to people. So it's a great experience, and people don't realize that it's part of this big network, but often the local trail in like the capital pathway in Ottawa, it's part of the Trans-Canada Trail network.
I actually can't count the amount of times on, it's probably a lot between, like, I'm from near Windsor, Ontario, so like I've definitely been on it down there. But here in Ottawa and in Quebec, you know, it's a rail trail partially that goes out towards like Stittsville, Ontario, which, like, I love biking and, you know, going out for a cafe, but then it also goes through Gatineau Park, which is like a great multi-use path as well. So I can't even, like, the amount of times that I've spent on the Trans-Canada Trail is a lot. And whether it's on cross-country skis, whether it's on foot, whether it's on bicycle, it's literally the huge multi-use path.
Yeah. And you can think about the trail as the spinal core of trail network across the country. So we connect a lot of trail network, and we're an active transportation route for people during the week and a recreation connector during the weekend, so they can go in nature and connect and get to know park, for example.
Let's Take This Outside now has a newsletter. Keep up to date with outdoor news, events, and great discount codes and deals from our partners. Sign up today at letstakethisoutside.ca.
I love talking about this on this podcast. What are the economic, public health, and environmental benefits of trails and outdoor recreation? And I love talking about this because it sounds like you've, not you personally, but Trans-Canada Trail has done research on this and the benefits. So I love hearing about this stuff and sharing it with my audience.
And we released a study last year. There's mainly three big categories. We look at the economic benefit from a standpoint of bringing money into a region. The overall economic benefit of the trail is about $23 billion of the Trans-Canada Trail network. That includes the direct spending of people. So you're using the trail, you stop at a coffee shop.
Like me biking to Stittsville and getting a coffee, right? Like that's literally, that's an economic benefit, right?
That's a great economic benefit. And after that, you have the job creation, the job sustain along the trail. So the person serving the coffee, I don't know, the community market, food market during the week, they sell food that the crop has been picked right aside the trail. So there's all this indirect and direct spending that total $23 billion for the country. So the trail is an economic driver and economic infrastructure that we do not think about it that way usually. After that, you have the health and physical benefit. You mentioned that you cannot imagine the amount of time you went on the Trans-Canada Trail. So we look at it from people that utilize the trail to be active. We need to quantify those benefits right now from not only the time you spend to be active, but the saving on the health cost system. And I don't have the numbers at the tip of my finger, but we're talking in millions of dollars of saving for the healthcare system just because the trail is there. And after that, you have the environmental benefits. So imagine the waterfront, the Capital Pathway, or for people in Toronto, the Martin Goodman Trail, in Montreal, the Canal La Chine. Those trails bring a space, a buffer space, to preserve nature and create environmental services. Like, if we don't have a trail, we're going to have buildings, so I need to retain the water in a certain way and install infrastructure. So the presence of a trail in the green space in our community and urban space represent about $82 million of environmental services each year. If we did not have the Trans-Canada Trail, it would be an investment that municipality, community, government will need to make.
I know a big initiative and something I really like to talk about is making the outdoors more accessible. How are you making the trail more accessible for people? What does that look like?
So we have multiple programs, but the main thing that we are doing, we have a partnership with Access Now. Access Now is an organization led by May and Ziv. It's a great for-profit organization that has created an app to share live experience of people. So a person with a visible or invisible disability gonna go on the trail or into any place and provide feedback. So we have started this partnership to map section of the trail, get live experience from people, and identify some key barriers that are on the trail. And once we have that report, we go to our partners and we share the result. And it takes time to make a difference and see the result, share the barriers being removed. But it's a process. So we initiate the process, we bring the barriers to trail organization, we provide funding to those trail organizations that want to remove the barriers. So we create, with time, a more accessible trail for everyone. And there's the access piece by itself.
If we're looking at grand scheme of things, the Trans-Canada Trail, as we name it, it's pretty new in recent history, right? What is the future of the Trans-Canada Trail, and what does it look like for outdoor recreationists across the country?
So the future is bright.
Good to hear.
Let's start
That's
with,
good to hear.
I'm super optimistic about the future. So there's a couple of things that are top of mind for us. We want to connect community and bring that access. So connect people to nature and to one another. That's an important piece of our mission because we are across the country. We do want to make sure that the trail lasts for future generations. Like the recent climate event that we are all aware of have impact on every infrastructure, and the trail is not different. And I would almost say that the trail is at the forefront of those events because we're often nearby water, stream, etc. So if there's flooding, the trail is the first one impacted. So we need to make sure that the trail is able to sustain those climate events. The trail is resilient, but also act as a support all the other measures. Like a trail can be a dig, for example, to prevent flooding in certain area.
Right.
The trail could be an exit road, a safety exit road during the wildfire season. So there's different aspects that the trail can play. But for that, we need to make sure that the trail still exists and reinforce and rebuild the trail. We want to increase the access to the trail, so having people really enjoying creating activity, amazing experience, connecting with great outdoors. And we want the sector to strive. We talked a bit earlier about the volunteers. That crew, the Trail Association, the volunteers, need support. They need help. They need resources. When we talk about climate adaptation, like a 100 millimeters rainfall is not something that it's unusual now. But having said that, what is the impact on their trail, the way it's built? And that knowledge need to be shared. So our 4 priorities are really to ensure that the trail remain is a key access to nature for people, and that we create that link, that preservation for future generation.
Not to put you on the spot, but the Jasper wildfires, for example, did that affect any of the Trans-Canada Trail? And it might be too soon for you to even be able to share any information, but is there anything you can talk about on that?
The Trans-Canada Trail is not in Jasper. We're in Banff National Park. So we were not affected by the wildfire. What I can say is that we have trail that is going through Fernie and
right through BC, right? Yeah.
So the wildfire are always a risk for a trail. When there's wildfire, we're gonna lose signage. We're gonna lose the trailhead at the entrance of the trail. So basically, we're not losing the infrastructure itself, but we're losing the amenities along the infrastructure. The washroom, that it's so important. Like if you visit the trail, having a washroom is kind of a key element. The instruction to not get lost, not having a map. So we're losing those key components. Also, we need to think about the people recreating on those trails. So in the wildfire season, the smoke, last summer in Ontario and Quebec, we had that huge smoke cloud.
That was wild, yeah.
It was crazy. So in the future, we really need to focus and help people understand how they can safely recreate when with the air quality index and making sure that the trail remain accessible and is a safe recreation mode.
Something that is very cool coming to Ottawa specifically is the World Trails Conference. This is a pretty big deal because you have a lot to do with this, right? What is the World Trails Conference?
So the World Trail Conference, it's a conference that happens every 2 years. It goes around the world. This year we submitted a bid a year ago-ish and we were successful. So we are hosting the conference. We're expecting about 350 to 400 trail organization, manager, operator to gather together to share resources about regenerative tourism. So all the trail can be this economic driver that bring new money into a community while respecting the community need and not creating negative impact with the, often tourism is connect to negative impact, but create that regenerative businesses, sustainable businesses that can survive because of the tourism. We're going to talk about climate conservation and nature, which is a big theme for us. And we're going to take a bit of time to talk about the trail sector itself and the sustainability capability of the trail sector. So those are the big team where we have many presenters, a big gala. It's going to be super exciting. So for us hosting it in Canada, just show the leadership that the country have in trail, the knowledge, and yeah, I'm so happy to have it.
Don't be surprised if you see me sneaking in somehow and I just kind of sneak my way in and be like, oops, I don't know how.
Yeah, you're welcome.
One more question. Why is the TCT so important to Canadians?
It's a legacy. We're one of the biggest country in the world, and the Trans-Canada Trail represent the unity of the country for me. It's one thing that we all agree on. We love nature. We love the outdoor. We love our backyard, and the Trans-Canada Trail connect all those pieces together. And really, like if you think about it, when you're in Ottawa and Gatineau and I'm in the trail on the Montagnarde, we're a few days of walk away to meet. So that Unity project, this legacy, this is why Canadians take care, love the trail, and it's there to their heart.
Mathieu, I feel like the TCT is in good hands with you and hope to see you at the World Trails Conference. And thanks for joining me. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for listening. For more Let's Take This Outside, go to letstakethisoutside.ca.
Produced and distributed by the Sound Off Media Company.